Hello everybody, ZX Presto here, and today I'm going to be talking about another unpopular opinion that I have about the Naruto series, but it's kind of not an opinion because it's backed by facts, but a lot of people just don't really get it. Um, so this video is going to be covering two of the most misunderstood characters in Naruto and maybe even anime in general. So these characters are Hiruzen Saratobi and Danzo, light and dark, Hokage and the man that controls stuff behind the scenes. These two characters are very misunderstood, but not in ways you may think. So, first, I'm going to be starting with the easiest one to understand, which is Danzo. Also, he's the one that's least misunderstood of the two, but still misunderstood. So, Danzo is definitely the most hated Naruto character um, by statistics. Maybe even one of the most hated anime characters in general. Because he is evil. He was a messed up guy. He plotted the Uchiha Massacre. He did a lot of evil stuff, killed people, tortured people, stole all the eyes of the Uchiha and whatnot. Um, he was just a rotten guy. Um, but the main thing that people misunderstand is when he died, he actually had a change of heart. And a lot of people tried to argue me with this and say that he didn't. But the thing is, I've noticed that a lot of people that hated Danzo probably watched his death scene with a lot of bias and were blinded by hate. Um, because the way that they wrote the scene of his death was very obvious that he had a change of heart. And how they did this was when he died, it showed a scene um, of him, Hiruzen, and Tobirama at young ages. It was when Tobirama died. They were all in the forest, and I think they were being tracked down by Ginkaku and Kinkaku and their crew and whatnot. Um, and Danzo wanted to sacrifice himself for the group, but just couldn't bring himself to do it because he was too selfish. Then eventually Hiruzen said he would do it, and then Tobirama eventually did it, as we all know. But Danzo was just having this internal conflict whether to do it or not, but he was just too selfish. And then at his death, despite him being evil, he did care about the village. It's pretty obvious that he cared about the village, just did not do it in the right way. But when he died, he wanted to sacrifice himself to save the village by killing Toby and Sasuke, because he thought he would be saving the village that way. Uh, and even with like his voice lines, he was saying, "Now it's finally time to basically step in the spotlight with Hiruzen and whatnot." And I honestly just watched Shippuden recently for the first time, but a couple of years ago, I basically got spoiled for everything in the series. There is nothing I didn't know before watching Shippuden. I knew every death. I knew everything that happened, every single tiny plot point. Basically, I knew basically every character. Um, and of course, I knew that everybody hated Danzo, and I heard all these bad things about Danzo. And then I watched the show, and before he died, I kind of started to like him. I mean, he's a villain and he's evil, and that part I didn't like, but he was just a cool character to me. Then his death, to me, was actually pretty sad, and I was starting to get confused about why so many people on the internet were so satisfied at that moment and hated this character so much because I was just watching it with unbiasedness, and I felt the emotion of the scene. It was showing scenes with him and the third Hokage, and showed how he changed and wanted to save the village, but of course he failed because he just died without Sasuke and Toby. So that's basically everything I have to explain about Danzo, that people just try to argue me and argue that Danzo never changed and that he was just always evil from birth till death and whatnot. But he most definitely did. It was very obvious that he did. Now, here is where it gets very tricky to change people's minds. Here's in Saratovi. Now, this character I personally love, but there's just things online that people do not understand about this character. First up, number one, people hate the character because the situation he put Naruto in. Now, I get it. He could have done more for Naruto, but people just blatantly kind of lie about the situation he put Naruto in. They said that he didn't provide for him enough, he wasn't there for him at all. First of all, maybe he just didn't watch the show all the way through or weren't paying attention, but they always showed scenes of him and Naruto having fun and wholesome moments and loving each other and whatnot. And also Naruto, even after Hiruzen's death, like long after, just always acknowledged him as someone he was close with and cared about a lot. Um, and people even tried to bring up like the time in that one episode in OG Naruto where Naruto had the spoiled milk, and they blamed that on Hiruzen. But you do you guys realize that Hiruzen's the Hokage? He probably doesn't keep track of exactly what groceries Naruto needs and tracks down the um, expiry on it. He gives Naruto the money to go buy the stuff. That's Naruto's fault. Anyways, he gave enough for Naruto to survive. He was there for Naruto. And one thing people do not notice, or didn't notice, or something. Number one, here's in Saratobi was the one that told Iruka to go and basically get close with Naruto and learn more about him and whatnot. Because Iruka wanted to stay away from Naruto, but it was basically an order from Hiruzen to go and get all close and personal with Naruto. Number two, Hiruzen Saratobi was the person that put Naruto on Team Kakashi along with Sasuke and Sakura. Now, I don't know about you, but I definitely do think that Naruto would have gone a lot different if he wasn't on Kakashi's team. People just don't realize that Hiruzen did so much for Naruto, and it just gets annoying to me, quite obviously, because he did do a lot for Naruto. He gave him Iruka Sensei, which was basically the closest person ever to Naruto. He gave him Kakashi, which is another person that's closest to Naruto. He just did so much. And one thing that gets on my nerves a lot is that people get angry at Hiruzen for the situation he put Naruto in, when literally Naruto is not angry at Hiruzen for it at all. I mean, he never showed any resentment towards Hiruzen for the situation, except of course at the beginning of the show where Naruto just showed resentment to everybody because he was just a delinquent or whatnot. But even long after Hiruzen's death, after Naruto knows the truth about everything, he never resented him. He never got angry at him. And I'm pretty sure it was even the same with Minato because Naruto let Minato know everything that was going on when Minato was in Naruto's mind to redo the seal during the pain fight. Um, but Minato wasn't angry at Hiruzen at all when they are reanimated, you know? Uh, that's basically the entire Naruto situation thing. I mean, he did enough for Naruto. He was there for Naruto. Gave Naruto all the people that were there for him. I mean, what more if he could have done? Oh, one more thing on that situation. People always hate on Hiruzen for the Naruto situation, and then they always love Minato as like their favorite Hokage and whatnot. But people fail to realize when Kakashi's father killed himself, Minato was Hokage. He did nothing to help Kakashi. Kakashi still lived alone. He came home and said, I'm home to nobody, and left and said, I'm leaving to nobody. Basically the same thing Naruto did. He was basically in the same exact situation as Naruto, but Minato, of course, didn't really do anything. I mean, he probably gave him the same allowance as Hiruzen, but if you're gonna hold Hiruzen accountable for the Naruto stuff, you gotta at least do it to Minato. And in my opinion, I don't think either of them should be held accountable because I think both of them did what they should have done. Now let's move on to the second reason people hate Hiruzen, which is probably the most bullcrap one, because it's just full of lies. It's the Uchiha clan massacre. People try to say that he's responsible for the Uchiha clan massacre. He was the one that did the Uchiha clan massacre, basically. But, of course, I just watched those episodes not that long ago, and even Itachi and Toby were not angry at Hiruzen for it, and pushed forward the idea that Hiruzen wasn't even really a part of it. Like Itachi was never angry at Hiruzen for it. When he left the village after killing the Uchiha, he went to Danzo, not Hiruzen, telling him that he would leak all the village's secrets if he went after Sasuke or whatnot. Um, but they were never angry at Hiruzen for it because they obviously knew it was Danzo, and Hiruzen basically had to go along with the idea, or else a big war would have broken out. Um, but he was the only person that was against the Uchiha clan massacre in the upper echelon of people in the village, and that idea was also pushed forward a lot by Itachi and Toby. Um, so yeah, that one, and then people just try to say that he did it. He was the person that came up with the idea. He supported it, which is just completely false. Now, to move on to the third and final reason that people hate Hiruzen Saratobi, and this one gets on my nerves quite a bit. And people try to say that he is responsible for Orochimaru and everything that happened with Orochimaru. Now, I will say, he kind of is. When he discovered Orochimaru was doing all the lab experiments on people, and he just let him go. Um, but I don't think that was that bad, because people are always loving Jiraiya and whatnot. But Jiraiya, if you look at Jiraiya's situation, the same way that you look at Hiruzen's situation, okay? He's basically responsible for the Akatsuki, right? Because if you look at the Hiruzen situation, he let Orochimaru go, and then they say he's responsible for everything Orochimaru did and Orochimaru in general. But Jiraiya, he left three highly trained kids alone in the middle of the war and just left them, probably knowing dang well they were gonna die. So just then and there, that's kind of evil, just knowing that they're gonna die and leaving the three kids alone. And then just training them so much to be so powerful, one having the literal freaking Rinnegan, just leaving them alone to do whatever they want. So I'd say if you look at both the situations the same, Jiraiya is just as much, if not more, responsible for the Akatsuki as Hiruzen is for Orochimaru. And let me get something straight. Orochimaru didn't do that many bad things throughout the show. I mean, you can't name one character Orochimaru killed. There's literally no named canon character that Orochimaru actually killed. Because I discovered this recently because I thought about it and I was like, wait, did Orochimaru ever kill anybody that was a substantial character of the series? And it's just like, no. I mean, yeah, he killed the third Hokage, but that's not really matters so much because third Hokage was old. I'm pretty sure he's like 80 or 90 maybe. Plus he kind of just killed himself. Um, but of course, well, technically Orochimaru did kill one named character, and that was crap. I can't remember his name. He was the fourth Kazekage, Gaara's father. But Orochimaru never really did anything substantial to the series. But I will say, if you look back on it, I kind of realized this recently. Sorry, I'm going on kind of a rant that doesn't have anything to do with Third Hokage, more with Orochimaru. But I was thinking, Orochimaru did something that kind of triggered the whole series. Let me think for a second. I can't remember what it was. Like, I kind of just lost my train of thought. But he did something that kind of triggered a lot of stuff with the Akatsuki and with the whole war arc. Oh yeah, if he didn't go crazy learning all the jutsu, then he would not have taught Kabuto how to do the reanimation jutsu, and then he wouldn't have been able to revive Madara. Then Madara wouldn't have been able to do all that stuff, killing people and causing the war. So Orochimaru kind of did cause all of that, and in the ladder of the great scheme of things and whatnot, but I just do not feel Hiruzen is that responsible for Orochimaru. And of course, in the long run, you already know Orochimaru becomes good if you watch the whole show. He becomes good, he does good things, he saves the five Kage in the war arc when he gets revived, he revives the first four Kage, first four Kage to help in the war arc, and he's just a cool guy in Boruto and whatnot. So yeah, that's basically the entire rant video I have about Third Hokage and Danzo. I mean, they really are some of the most misunderstood characters in Naruto, and I hope this video could help you see that. Um, Please remember to like and share this video, and please remember to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.